The 2023 general elections will be laced with historical intersections. It will be 30 years after the landmark June 12, 1993 presidential election won by MKO Abiola. It will also be the first time in 20 years that President Muhammadu Buhari will not be on the ballot. It will also be the first time since this democracy that we'll be having an arguable three-horse race, and voter consciousness appears to be at an all-time high in recent history. So to strategize for the exercise, the top hierarchy of the Nigerian police, led by the IGP, met for the 2022 police conference and retreat in Owerri, Imo State capital, with President Muhammadu Buhari as special guest of honor. And that will be our focus on this program. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jeffrey Uzongo.
Imo State in Nigeria's southeast region is the 14th most populous and the third smallest state in Nigeria. It has an estimated population of over 5.4 million people, based on the 2006 census report. Also known as Eastern Heartland, Imo State is central in its region, connecting states in the southeast and links to the south-south. Imo State has been a hotbed of attacks by gunmen in recent times, but things are looking up. Owerri, the state capital, has been venue for several discussions which centers around preparation for the upcoming 2023 general elections. First, a deliberation by the Chief of Army Staff and top echelon of the Army. Weeks later, the state government plays host to the police in a 3-day conference and retreat for senior officers with the theme, The Imperative of Nigerian Police Strategic Plan for Peaceful Elections. Senior police officers from the rank of Commissioner of Police and above in various commands and units arrive in the venue of the event. The interaction depicts that they have come from far and wide. Also in attendance at the opening ceremony of the 3-day event are officers of other sister security agencies, federal and state executive council members, members of the federal and state assemblies, among others. The Inspector General of Police, Usman Alkali Baba, and other invited guests arrive. The arrival of the President, Muhammadu Buhari, sets the tone for the event. In his welcome address, the Inspector General of Police, Alkali Baba, speaks on the importance of the retreat and the readiness of the police to take charge of security ahead of the 2023 general elections.
We shall critically and professionally review the pattern and trends of crimes and undertake a detailed security risk assessment with a view to identifying specific trends that could threaten the security and peaceful conduct of the 2023 general elections. We intend to draw on the outcome of these initiatives to perfect our election security strategy and action plans towards stabilizing the security and political landscape in a manner that will strengthen citizens' confidence in the electoral process and produce a credible electoral outcome in the 2023 general elections. In aid of this process, I can assure Your Excellency that the Force Intelligence Bureau, FIB, has undertaken a comprehensive 2023 election threat analysis which highlights and geolocated possible threats across all the 774 local government areas of the Federation. This report will be utilized to guide our appreciation of the security space as we fine-tune our election security action plan. Aside this, the uniqueness of this conference and the retreat lies in the fact that it has become an annual event that attracts the largest gathering and the broadest representation of strategic police managers across all policing fields, departments, commands, and formations in the country. It therefore presents a rare forum for harnessing the broad and diverse professional experiences of the rich array of participants towards taking a stock of our institutional achievements, dissecting our challenges, identifying administrative and professional gaps, and re-evaluating our policing strategies. This is the key goal of strengthening our institutional capacity to project, plan, and respond in the most proactive and professional manner to current and evolving crimes and security threats in the country. Mr. President, sir, we do appreciate that the countdown to the upcoming general elections may present new sets of security threats which will undoubtedly further tax our professionalism and operational confidence. Encouraged by Your Excellency's motivation and support, however, I can assure that under my watch, the Nigeria Police will not disappoint Your Excellency, neither will we fail the nation.
Corroborating the position of the IGP on the election, the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, who was represented at the event, and the Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Rabah, among other guests, restated their commitment in supporting the Nigerian police force to conduct a violent-free election.
The initiative taken by the Inspector General of Police does not begin and end here in Owerri, the Imo State capital, but will cascade to all the 774 local government areas and the 6 area council in the Federal Capital Territory across the country. It's therefore gratifying to note that INEC electoral officers, EOs and staff are also found in all the 774 local government areas in the country, co-located with their various DPOs. Therefore, the interaction that exists between the Nigerian police force and the INEC is that from bottom up, is that of symbiotic relationship to partner in progress. Election preparation, deployment, and implementation constitute the most extensive mobilization that could happen in a country, whether in peacetime or in war. In Nigeria, it involves the recruitment and training of staff and managing the logistics for their deployment to 176,846 polling units spread across 8,809 electoral wards, 774 local government areas, and 37 states of the Federation with the Federal Capital Territory. It involves a projected voter population of about 93 million for the 2023 general election, which is over 20 million more than the combined voter population of the other 14 countries in West Africa. Voters will also elect candidates for 1,491 constituencies. That is, 1 presidential constituency, 28 governorship elections, 109 senatorial districts, 360 federal constituencies, 993 state assembly seats. Ensuring the police have a big task. Ensuring the safety and security of voters, election personnel and materials, candidates, party agents, observers, media, and transporters are indeed enormous. This responsibility has become more challenging to the Nigerian police force, the lead agency for internal security operations, and indeed the security agencies in the country. Definitely, therefore, the Nigerian police force requires the cooperation and support from all and sundry.
The armed forces, by dint of constitutional provisions, have been giving support to the civil authority that the police, of course, represent. And in that sense, we have been involved in all internal security operations and even conduct of elections, giving support to the police. And so we feel very strongly that this time around we should give greater support in the light of the experiences that we've had. For the armed forces, we look forward to a time when the armed forces personnel will be relieved of internal security duties. because we believe, looking at the robust transformation that Mr. President is supporting, which of course the IG is also implementing, we believe that that objective, that indeed mission will be accomplished very soon. But until then, I'd like to, on behalf of the armed forces, indeed give the IG all the encouragement that is required, letting you know that we are there to support you and other security agencies in providing security for all our citizens. And in particular, for the coming election, we'll be there, whatever role that were assigned as enshrined in the protocols that is already established by INEC. We'll be there to give all the support in order to ensure that what Mr. President desires for Nigerians, which is to have a smooth transition from the coming elections, will be achieved.
The Minister of Police Affairs, Mohammed Dangiadi, gives insight into the contributions of the federal government towards boosting the morale and the welfare of Nigerian police officers ahead of the elections.
Democracy worldwide thrives on strong institutions like the police, the electoral umpire, and the judiciary. This underscores the imperative of the Nigerian police reviewing its achievements in the various previous elections nationwide and evolve new strategies for improved performance with regards to improving security, safety, and a peaceful environment before, during, and after upcoming general elections early next year. Let me at this juncture reiterate Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari's administration's commitment towards building a strong and committed policing institution with the requisite logistical leverage that will ensure free, fair, and credible elections at all times. This has been amply demonstrated by the government's strong focus on retooling policing infrastructure and implementing enhanced welfare packages for police personnel despite the challenging economic concerns. At the ministerial level, a lot has been achieved through policies and programs with the overall objective of building a strong, efficient, reformed, and people-friendly police to stimulate the needed economic growth in a safe and secure environment. It is imperative at this point to also announce that work has reached advanced stage to give legal framework to police training institutions as part of ongoing reform and strategy to reposition them for enhanced efficiency, particularly in building the capacity of the cadet officers. At this juncture, I would like to take this opportunity to call on the leadership of the Nigerian police to see persistent call for creation of state police as a persuasive desire of the federating units to enjoy a more robust policing at the subnational levels. Therefore, this should inspire you to work harder towards meeting the expected global best policing standards in order to earn citizens' trust, support, and confidence in the present arrangement. Policing as a fabric upon which all forms of civil society revolves cannot afford to be politicized or deployed wrongly as feared in certain quarters, going by the recent experience of intolerance and domineering tendencies of political actors in some states. While government continues to advance technology and intelligence-led policing, the role of citizenry in winning the war against criminalities cannot be overemphasized. This, therefore, calls for a more positive attitude on the part of the rank and the file of the police in order to gain confidence of Nigerians and therefore making them their dependable partners in the task of securing the nation. Very critical also is the ability of the officers at the strategic levels to institutionalize and cascade the vision and thinking of the leadership of the officers at the tactical and commander levels, in particular the resolve of government to ensure that the will of the people prevails in the coming elections.
For the host, Governor Hope Uzodimma is excited that the state is hosting the leadership of the force prior to the elections. He maintains that this will go a long way to boost the confidence, security and safety of Imo people in the safe environment that Imo provides.
Your Excellency, This conference is crucial since it is aimed at evolving strategies towards discharging the duties of the police ahead of the general elections scheduled for 2023. It is therefore gratifying to note that history will remember that it was in the beautiful city of Owerri during my tenure as the governor of Imo State that the police met and planned how to give Nigeria one of the most peaceful elections in its history. I say this rather prophetically because I wish and foresee a very peaceful and credible election in 2023. The President has made a commitment towards this, and the Independent National Electoral Commission has also assured us that this will be the case. As you may know, I will remain the relentless advocate of free, fair, and peaceful elections in the country. I have always maintained that every election dispute can and should be resolved peacefully through available legal channels, not by violence or by heating up the polity. When we as politicians accept the fact that losers of today can be winners of tomorrow, then we will see no reason to rock the boat when we lose. I believe that this conference should look more critically at this sole aspect of politics. Perhaps if you do, you may find lasting solution to the threat which election losers continually pose to our national cohesion. I'm happy that the Police High Command has chosen a perfect team for this retreat. The team, which is the imperative of a Nigerian police strategic plan for a peaceful election, is not only apt but reassuring as we approach the general elections of 2023. Permit me, therefore, to suggest that this strategic plan should include a recommendation that all the candidates in all the elections must undertake under oath to denounce violence. They should also commit and sign an undertaking that all disputes over election results can only be challenged peacefully through the court processes, and that the parties to the dispute must be bound by the outcome of that process. I make this submission because it is obvious to me and other objective observers that post-election violence constitutes a major threat to our democracy. Whereas an election could be adjudged peaceful and free, the refusal of some politicians to accept an outcome of that election or their defeat often throws up more severe threats to our democracy.
Restating his unwavering commitment to democratic values and strong democratic institutions, which he says will entrench a process of free, fair, transparent, and credible election come 2023, President Muhammadu Buhari adds that part of his vision is to bequeath to the nation a police force that is not only modernized but well-funded to guarantee a stable internal security.
This conference and retreat will enable us to discuss issues relating to the role and capacity of the Nigerian police being the lead agency in the electoral and internal security process towards ensuring a peaceful, secure, free, fair, and credible 2023 general elections. It also provides a unique opportunity to brainstorm on pathways to guaranteeing a stable internal security space in the countdown to the electoral transition exercise. I have set the goal that one of the enduring legacies I would like to leave is to entrench a process of free, fair, transparent, and credible election through which Nigerians elect leaders of their choice. Nigerians elect leaders of their choice. I also noted that it has been my experience that a democratic culture provides a government with the legitimacy it needs to deliver positive change. I remain steadfast to these commitments. This informed my disposition to strengthen the legal framework and to enrich our legal processes as exemplified by my assenting to the amended 2022 election bill on the 22nd of February this year, 2022. Despite these initiatives, it is recognized that no nation advances its democracy and attains its socio-economic and developmental goals without an effective policing system. There must, therefore, come to a time in life of a nation when the people and government must, in national security interest, frontally address challenges that have historically been negatively impacting on public trust, partnership, and institutional efficiency of the policing agency. For us as a government and nation, we recognize that the time is now. It is in cognizance of this that our administration has prioritized critical reforms in the Nigerian police force in order to reposition it to effectively fulfill its internal security and democratic governance mandates in conjunction with the Independent National Electoral Commission and other strategic agencies in the electoral process.
In the course of the three-day retreat, the lecture centers around democracy and the electoral process, the role of law enforcement agencies in sustaining electoral integrity, public relations as a tool for effective communication for election purposes, Interpol support for peaceful elections, efficient deployment of modern techniques for election monitoring and policing, and collaborating with other security agencies.
The trend has been that politicians will try to drive for low turnouts in areas where they consider that they will not win. And this is one of the pre-election strategies that the police has to put in place to check pre-election disturbances, to check pre-election vulnerabilities in certain areas, to ensure that the peace and calm is in those places to help people come out and vote. Give an example, in some urban areas, there are certain areas where people from a certain tribe live. And so if they want to check those people from voting, all they need to do is to put chaos and disturbance in those areas so those people do not come out. So that is also very important. And I told the police that with the structure that INEC has made, the process is not completely automated. The voting and counting process, which is perhaps the most important process, is still manual. And so it's manual and physical. So physical presence of the police force is very important. And I also matched, the resource challenge that the police had. We're looking at about 188 centers, INEC centers that have to be manned. And we have a police strength of about 400,000. So even if we do one police officer per electoral points, it means that we're going to have all of our police officers used up, completely utilized during the election. And that's why they're working with people like the National Civil Defense and other paramilitary organizations, because the police alone cannot man all, except they intend to use just one police officer for each region, which is not possible. So there are a myriad of challenges, but I think that's why the police force is putting this very, very useful conference together to share ideas, to cross-fertilize ideas, and also to look at the threats, because the battle place for elections in this generation is online. And so technology will play a very, very major role. And then we've talked about some of those impacts that technology can have, cyber security, meaning that the police, and they've showed commitment under this IG to upscale and retool to be able to address the potential threats. And quite a lot of those discussions are going on. And I think it's a very good thing.
And during this 2023 election, we have the most sophisticated cyber crime. You remember the 2015 and the 2019 election, the Interpol used its tools and services, to safeguard the server of the INEC. When we discover it has been hacked, we quickly informed them and they shut it down. It's the same thing with the CBN. and financial institutions, we discover that the system is being hacked. These are some of the things that we do. People may not know at the background, but this is what we do in order to save Nigeria. And the 2023 election is coming, and we are designing a way in which cybercrime will be used, our department will be used to harness our resources in order to deal with those guys that are trying to hack into our system or to tout the efforts of the government in giving free, fair, and credible election come 2023.
Some participants share their view on the retreat.
Apart from feeling a sense of belonging, that I'm part and parcel of this initiative, being a member of the management team, I also feel very, very elated that it is a success story. If you had Mr. President, it was encomiums all through his speech. So I think I'm proud to be part and parcel with this management team under IGP Usman Alkali Baba, CFR.
It brings awareness to the officers. Some of the officers will be experiencing election, conducting the election as the head, the CP of the election themselves. So a lot of information have been passed across for people to take home. So it is timely and it is very educative. From the trend of the elections that have passed, Anambra election, Edo election, Ekiti election, and Osun election, you can see the direction of the arrow. That election in Nigeria today is going to be peaceful. It's going to be peaceful, violent-free, and rigging will be drastically minimized. To be drastically minimized because there will be no room for that. If the officers that are being lectured now, I know the word assault, if they come out awful, they will be able to curtail the election and handle it properly because they would not want to fail and show bad example compared to what has been happening. Everybody will want to follow the trend. If you hear, you'll be disciplined. It's as simple as that. If you hear, you'll be disciplined, especially when you do that deliberately. When you do that deliberately, you'll be disciplined. You know, if you allow the politicians to misuse you, you're at your own peril.
With the expanded level of conversation and knowledge gained here, hopefully the outcome of deliberations from this 3-day retreat for senior police officers and the key drivers of electoral process will no doubt be impactful as Nigerians look forward to a violent-free atmosphere before, during, and after the 2023 general elections.
And that's it on this episode of the program. Thanks for your time and, of course, your usual company. I'm Jeffrey Uzongo.